there's a paradox that the living have to come to terms with. And that is that you do, and then you don't do. You do, and then you don't have to do because it's being done. So there's a doingness that occurs. We can associate that with the idea of blood ancestry, having its own will, its own power, and its own manifesting process. And so that's good, that's safe, not a problem. You need to know how to use that so that when you see that that becomes a certain kind of limitation you don't need, you step out of it and say, well, that's how it was, and now this is how it needs to be, whatever that is. In the progression of accomplishing your goals on earth or satisfying a creative function you may have that might be subject to periodic change, transformation, or purification, right? Upgrading. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, when we're talking about planets, yeah, that's about change. And what we learn is that things appear and disappear according to time. And time has a purpose in the process. It's not about just about appearances and their symbolic relevance to our psyche or culture, but time. Who is time or who is not time? And what does that mean to the individual? What time are you? Whose time are you on? If you're companionated with somebody, you may be on their time. That might be good, it might be the worst thing. And then there's where your misery is. Not in the person, but their time. And you don't know that because you don't look deeply enough. You're having too much fun. Or pain. To know it could be their time, more than just your time. But that's what a relationship is. You give up your time for somebody else's time. Somewhere in between, you might have a little bit of your time, you might have a little bit of their time, but sometimes your time is given up, but you don't know it because you're cooperating. So then you have cooperation with others. That means other universes, other peeps, or universes, and you got to see what you're giving up that adjust your time unconsciously. You say, well, I don't want my time unconsciously changed. So then you need to know what your time is, that you need to reinforce, right? Or you're here to have, you are specifically here to have what I've called the upgrade, being more attuned to what creative intelligence is and how to use it as you go on, minus all these other things and universes that you were using that weren't adding to your progression, weren't enabling progression, they were holding you back. And we can do that to one another. Yeah. Like, wouldn't it be great if couples had the ability to recognize which one of the two is holding the other back? Right? And then there's an awakening, and then one says, I realized after, 35, 40 years, I've been holding you back the whole time. I think it's time for you to go out on your own and grow. Not out of a lack of love, but out of a revelation of how self-compromised can be a problem, say. And that, what is the word I'm looking for right now? Compromise, right? Marriage, say, bonding can be a great thing, but it can also be the worst thing. We need to know that. Family arrangements can be the worst thing after a period of time, actually. Don't we know that? Right? Or there can be an awakening to change that sort of appearance or that pattern of suffocating one another because there's no creative intelligence or spiritual awareness about doing anything beyond what is showing up as a certain kind of program, right, of suffocation and stifling, creative, getting together and just getting drunk. Not bad. after a while. Then you might know if that's helping you out in any way. If your health is getting better, if your brain is growing, right? Your intelligence is expanding, if you're doing more, and if it's serving what we could call a productive result system of some sort, keep doing what you're doing if it's working for you. But if you're smart, you want to be able to know that it's not, just as you want to be able to know that it is, and continue what you need to continue if it's working for you, or drop what you're doing if it's not working for you. Change up.